internet is booming with speculations and jaw-dropping claims. And the center of it all, Minx Harris. Yep, you heard that right. The same Men's who's been keeping everything calm, collected, and secret until now. But according to a surge of viral messages and leaked images, a covered nut test may have been done, with the results purportedly stunning supporters. Falling into turmoil, and guess who's being pulled back into the spotlight? None other than Mena, the lady who previously gave subtle clues via cryptic shade and said she knew. More than she revealed, some are now wondering, was Erica telling the truth all along? This isn't just some small rumor. This is the type of scandal that turns lives upside down, breaks families apart, and sets social media on fire. Insiders believe that the net was done in secret behind everyone's back, and when the truth came out, let's just say emotions ran hot, and not everyone made it out of that encounter unhurt. So what exactly did the test reveal? Why it was taken privately? And how does Mena fit into this chaos? Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will have you doubting everything. It all began with a post that barely lasted online, approximately 10 minutes before being removed. Yet there was enough time for followers to screenshot, repost, and study every single word the message didn't originate from NBC himself, but rather from a burner account that many now assume is tied to someone close to him. In that post, there was a statement that set the internet ablaze. Sometimes the truth hurts more when you've been living a lie, folks. People started to speculate right away, but it wasn't until someone released a hazy snapshot of a Nina test paper with Mendeecees' name barely visible at the top that things really blew. The first question everyone asked was simple. Why would Mendeecees take a net test in secret? Wasn't everything perfect between him and Yandy? Weren't they raising their blended family peacefully together? According to allegations, a storm has been silently amassing power for years behind those flawlessly filtered family images. Insiders' worries have been increasing for a long time, and yeah, the doubts weren't only men's, but Yandy's as well. Whispers suggest that there had been tension in the home, with old names and prior relationships generating further friction they ever let on. But the name that kept showing up again and again was Mena. Fans recall Erica's turbulent relationship history and her ability to stir the water, whether deliberately or not, but this time she wasn't the one causing trouble, or at least not explicitly. Months ago during an Instagram Live, Erica made a cryptic statement while talking about males who claimed to be fathers simply to appear nice for the cameras at the time. Some believe she was just being shady, maybe even firing shots at Safari. But today, in light of the Dale leak, her remarks are reinterpreted. Could she have known something? Was she hinting at Minx the whole time? What makes this more trickier is that there is history between Men's and Erica, not romantic but related. Because of shared contacts and overlapping drama from their love and hip-hop pasts, they were often in the same rooms for the same shoots, and according to some accounts, they even had a few heated interactions off camera. It was during one of these occasions, apparently, when Erica overheard something that altered her outlook. Forever sources said she once walked in on a chat Mimes and someone from production anything about cleaning up rumors and preserving reputations. Erica apparently left the room dubious, and she has been side-eyeing Minx ever since. Meanwhile, back at home, things weren't as picture-perfect as they seemed. Yandy had been trying to hold everything together, managing the kids, her businesses, spouse who, according to intimate friends, had grown emotionally distant. They claim Mendeecees began making late-night calls and taking strange vacations under unclear, despite explanations, and spending long hours trapped in his studio alone. Yandy didn't want to think the worst, but the discrepancies were mounting up, and then came the last straw. A mystery packet that came at their house, stamped private and confidential. Yandy opened it and found a lab request confirmation with Minnie's name and a pending paternity test. She confronted him that same night. And that conversation, according to someone who claimed to have heard portions of it behind a closed door, was nothing short of explosive. And Yandy, crushed and enraged, wanted answers. "Why would you go behind my back?" she reportedly shouted. DC was taken off guard and attempted to calm her down. "I just wanted to know," he said, But Yandy wasn't having it. You needed to know that our family isn't real, that I've been raising a kid believing it was yours. And you didn't trust me enough to tell me. The atmosphere was tight, emotions ran high, and nothing was fixed. The following morning, Minx was gone. He hadn't departed permanently, but he needed space, as he explained in a text to Yandy for days. One knew where he was. Some believed he was sleeping at a hotel. Some think he had flown to Atlanta to meet with someone related to the test, but the reality is he was spinning. And he wasn't just struggling, he was coping with the weight of what this meant for his reputation, family, and future. He had always prided himself on being a stand-up guy and a parent first. What if that image was broken forever? Fans online were conflicted. Some backed Mendeecees, claiming he had every right to know the truth, while others lambasted him for attending. Behind Yandy's back, you don't do anything like that in private if you trust your spouse, one person said. If the positions were reversed, people would drag Yandy through the dirt. And just as the debate began to settle down, a second leak occurred, this time an audio clip that was garbled, plainly filmed without permission, but the voices were identifiable males, VCs, and an unnamed lady in the tape. Men's can be heard stating, "I wasn't sure anymore. Things just didn't add up." The lady answers, "You think this will blow?" And he answers, "It has already." Fans were astonished when the tape showed that he had qualms about acting on them and that he recognized the repercussions. May be significant, but the major mystery remained: what were the actual findings of the NA test? Was the kid in question indeed his, or had they all been living a lie for years? Rumors flew that the test had been completed weeks before the initial leak and that the findings had been transmitted confidentially to Mendeecees via a third-party service. The only issue was that no one had seen them. With no official confirmation, only that one blurry picture and now this audio, yet some close to the matter reported that the outcomes were not what anybody anticipated. One source supposedly talked to a family acquaintance who stated that the findings revealed a partial match, implying that the youngster may be a related, but not certainly a son, which just added gasoline to the fire. Mena said on Instagram, "I told you I wasn't insane. Silence is loud." There were no names, hashtags, or context, yet everyone understood what she. Fans filled her DMs and comments, imploring her to share more. "Erica, please. Don't keep us waiting," one person wrote, while another said, "You've been sitting on this tea for how long?" But Erica remained silent after that, letting the turmoil erupt without contributing any more gasoline. Her timing was suspect, nearly like she knew this moment was coming, and Yandy would vanish from social media altogether. No posts, tales, or lives. Her last update was days before the jump. She shared a modest picture of herself and her children with the remark, "Peace over everything." Now fans are reading that. Host differently. Was it a clue that she knew the storm was coming just as followers were beginning to put together their own hypotheses and timeframes? Another twist occurred, which would make things much more confusing. The shock came in the form of a private message that was published by a fan website renowned for revealing behind the scenes drama. Was a snapshot of a DM reportedly made from an account belonging to a former love and hip-hop producer. The note said, "You believe the exam was about one kid. There's more to." Then you realize that one statement turned the whole scenario upside down. Fans began to speculate that males may have covertly consumed more than one nudist, and not just for one child. Suddenly, the tale wasn't simply about one moment. Rumors started to circulate about a whole chapter of secret facts. According to others, Mendeecees was contacted years ago by a lady who claimed to have a kid with him. He supposedly passed it off as a clout-chasing stunt, but others close to the case now allege that the lady has emerged with legal documentation and a demand for evidence. Others feel the lady wasn't new, but rather someone from Mendeecees' past who had been silent for a long time. Prevent disturbing his existing life anyway. The conversation on social media surged. Was Mendeecees secretly the father of a kid no one knew about? As if an anonymous father's name box has lately been changed, and the name written in Minx. Harris admirers' amazement. They couldn't believe how quickly things were spinning. First leaked audio, now a birth certificate. The pieces were lining up too nicely. It seemed like a premeditated takedown is a dramatic breakdown of a well-crafted image. The strain Yandy's social media quiet increased, and others started to accuse her of concealing the facts. Hashtags like #Justice4Yandy and #Yandy News began trending in reaction to one of Yandy's close friends who owns a cosmetic company that often works with her wrote a since-deleted tweet, "She's suffering more than you realize, and you don't see what goes on." Behind the cameras that just sparked additional suspicion, was Yandy really the victim? Amidst all of this, or had she known about these secrets long before they came to light? Then came a video from Lil Scrappy. Lil Scrappy has his own past with guys via love and hip-hop. Posted a 2-minute Instagram live where he didn't specify names but offered some strong clues. "I warned my mans years ago that playing with fire when you don't manage your business." He added you can't simply push things under the floor and believe its fans instantly linked the connections, particularly since Scrappy and Mendeecees have filmed together. Scrappy might have known something numerous times, and he was warning folks all along. When a lady claimed to be the mother of DC's putative second kid, the plot took another dramatic turn. Live on Facebook, she donned sunglasses and talked awkwardly, but her message was loud. "I did not want to make this public, but I am wary of being silenced." He knows the truth, and he knows that kid is his. Her life lasted barely 12 minutes before being pulled down, but not before screen recordings traveled worldwide. Some of the remarks were harsh. People backed her, others accused her of pursuing celebrity. But one thing was certain, she had receipts, revealed fuzzy images, outdated communications, and even what seemed to be child support documentation with most of the data. Except for one name marked in red, which was Men's, everything became fuzzy. The next day, tennis-style bloggers started claiming that Yandy had officially left the family home and was sleeping in a hotel with her children, according to an unidentified neighbor. Seeing movers transport boxes out of the home late at night, she didn't say anything. Watching them work, she seemed fatigued like she hadn't slept in days. The neighbor stated if true, the harm was DC's men. On the other side, may be irreversible and deeper than fans anticipated. Still hadn't posted anything formal, his quiet was deepening, and it was beginning to appear like remorse behind closed doors. According to insiders, he was attempting to control the narrative. He was reportedly speaking with attorneys, drafting statements, and discussing doing a sit-down interview to clarify the air. According to a source close to the incident, he assumed the leaks came from someone in his closest circle. Someone who has access to sensitive information and a personal grudge followers didn't let up. One Twitter conversation went viral setting out a chronology of events along with screen grabs and dates of after almost a decade of interviews and receipts. The thread concluded with the phrase, "Mendeecees build a life on everything was just a matter of time until everything crumbled." Hundreds of likes, retweets, and comments followed. Certain admirers even made TikTok videos reenacting the scenario as if it were an episode of a TV program. The internet has converted Menk's real-life disaster into entertainment, and there was no stopping it now. Mena posted again, this time with a mysterious remark, which supporters feel was intended specifically at Yandy. "Protect someone who would not protect you," she wrote beside a black and white snapshot of herself peering into again. No names were mentioned, but the timing was so accurate that supporters urged her to go. Live to tell her side to spill the tea, but Erica remained mute after that post, letting the conjecture speak for itself. When all of this happened, a lost interview reappeared from years ago, where male DCs had talked about parenthood. In the tape, he added, "Being dad transformed me and made me want to be better. I will always be there for mine." Those statements struck a new chord today, with some seeing them as evidence that he cared passionately and was just trying to do the right thing. Others witnessed it as hypocrisy, calling him out for lying to fans and potentially his own children. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more convoluted, another audio leak hit the web. This time including sounded like Yandy weeping while believed him, protected him, and now I'm the one. The footage left fans ashamed and sad. People who had previously supported males started switching sides, and the emotional weight in Yan's voice was unmistakable. According to sources close to Yandy, the family dynamic was deteriorating and the public was watching every break in real time. She relies greatly on her support system, yet she feels betrayed on a level she never imagined. And it's not merely regarding the children. It's about trust and loyalty since everything they made together, stated one source. And with each passing day, more parts of the jigsaw seem to emerge. Photos, text, and murmurs from the past, yet through the cacophony, the issue remained unanswered. What does the end test tell about the leaks? Offered the appearance of fact, but there was still no formal confirmation, no. There are no written papers or formal statements, just confusion and hints. And yet the people who were closest to the event acted as if they already knew the decision since they had seen the findings. Were they responding to something deeper, something emotional, something personal? When no documentation could explain, the internet theorized and split into groups. Another bombshell was about to drop. The surprise came late at night when an anonymous site shared a snapshot of what looked to be Mendeecees meeting with the lady who claimed to be the mother of his purported child. The two were standing outside a restaurant, not bickering, not tense, peacefully conversing. The shot was blurry and definitely taken from a distance. Yet people started to wonder why he would meet with her in person if her accusations weren't true. True, the caption said, "Exclusive Mendeecees seen having a private dinner with." Is this confirmation from the mysterious mother? Suddenly, people weren't only discussing the dinner outcomes, they were wondering his goals, honesty, and if this private meeting indicated he was already making measures behind the scenes to recognize a fact he had been rejecting openly. What came next was even more shockingly. Within hours of the photo's release, another leak hit the web. Mine's legal staff reportedly sent an email to a third-party testing centers use terminology like fast results for clients. Confidentiality and non-disclosure were enforced. However, no direct names were mentioned. The date and context clarified what was being addressed, and it only verified what supporters had thought. Weeks Mendeecees had done the Nana test privately, and the findings had been supplied well before the public discovered the email didn't end there. One terrible statement stuck out. In legal language, our client recognizes the significance of this outcome and is exploring methods to control the media backlash. Fans couldn't believe their eyes. If this was true, as most thought, Mendeecees would have known the truth all along and was more intent on damage management than going transparent about the blowback. Even longtime fans started to doubt his integrity, asking how someone may hide such a major fact while seeming calm and collected online at this time. She broke her quiet not with a news conference or a formal statement, but with a brief touching video released in her Instagram post. She appeared sans makeup, wearing a sweatshirt and sitting in what seemed to be a motel room. Her voice was gentle, unsteady, yet filled with "I just want peace," she added. "I've gone through a lot over the years. I've tried to keep my family together, but reality has a way of bursting through no matter how." She didn't specifically specify minks, but the message was loud and plain. Her anguish was apparent. Her trust had been broken, and the world was no longer the same. The film was republished everywhere, including blogs and fan sites. Influencers, everyone weighed in. One celebrity gossip blogger said, "Yandy's silence was louder than Mendeecees' lies. And now that she's speaking, it's clear she's done playing the faithful wife position." Others suggested that her tweet wasn't only about sadness, but also about preparation for formal separation. Some even claimed divorce papers had been filed. Though nothing formal had emerged, just as things seemed to reach their emotional pinnacle, another layer was added. Amid the storm, a relative of Mendeecees believed to be close to both him and Yandy went live on TikTok, dropped a bombshell of his own, everyone behaving like they were surprised. He said, pacing back and forth, "This ain't new, it's just now coming out. As we all knew there were questions regarding the youngster. Hell, several of us even told him to take the exam years ago, but he refused. Stir things up now, watch everything coming apart." Fans were surprised if even his own family had suspicions about how far the secret really went. And the cousin didn't stop there. He hinted to more secrets, more ladies, and more tales that the public hadn't heard yet, saying, "This ain't the only one," remarked cryptically. "People, strap up because this is just the beginning." Viewers swarmed the comments with queries demanding him to pour more tea, but he stopped the chuckle suddenly and left everyone was on edge. And then came the moment that would alter everything. Nails were spilled, no more rumors, no more conjecture. But no one knows who shared a scanned copy of what seemed to be an official test result. The document featured the names of purported mother, kid, and father, as well as Mendeecees' name in strong red characters. It said that the chance of paternity was 997%, which was the sort of confirmation. That silenced even the most devoted supporters. The truth was out. The repercussions was swift, with websites updating their headlines and fans flooding comment sections with astonishment, despair, and grief. Some termed it the end of an era. Mendeecees were described as a fake manipulator and liar, but the strongest voices were those expressing sorrow for Yandy. She stayed by him through incarceration, public disgrace, and all one fan said, "And this is how he repays her, guys." DC has yet to comment publicly, but a close during an Instagram live, a buddy and fellow Love and hip-hop cast member spoke on his behalf. He is also grieving. Buddy stated he didn't manage it well, but he was frightened of losing everything: his wife, family, reputation. He's human, he made mistakes, and now he is confronting it. But supporters weren't ready for empathy, much alone the betrayal seemed too fresh, too raw. They demanded responsibility, the truth, and they wanted it from Mendeecees directly, not via a buddy or a leaked email. Adding to the turmoil, the claimed mother of the kid made her own statement via a sketchy gossip site, stated she never wanted fame, never wanted controversy, and just went public because she felt neglected all the time. Wanted him to be a part of his child's life. She stated, "I never wanted to ruin his marriage or destroy his image. However, I was not going to be wiped." Her remarks sparked even greater emotion. Some individuals grew to grasp her viewpoint, while others remained distrustful of her timing and objectives. Yandy shared another message, this time a snapshot of a text exchange between her and a buddy. She said, "I don't hate him. I'm just done saving people who won't even throw me a life jacket." It was simple, it was strong, and it seemed like the last nail in the coffin of a relationship that once seemed advertisement behind the scenes. The show's producers were supposedly rushing to decide out how to manage the controversy. Sources stated they intended to record a special episode addressing the incident, while others reported Yandy had refused to engage in anything that made her anguish seem like entertainment. "This isn't a storyline to me," she allegedly said. They said, "This is my actual life, and I refuse to let it be reduced to ratings." Meanwhile, other cast members were responding to Mena once again. Uploaded a picture with the caption, "Karma does not miss." Bambi enjoyed the post. Mama D replied with a love emoji, while Carly Red offered a gift of popcorn. Everyone appeared to have an opinion, and everyone wanted a piece of it. The focus, but the heart of the plot remained the same. DC's had stolen the dinner test, the kit was his, and the reality had detonated in a manner no one could. As expected, viewers were left wondering what the next surprise would be and if anybody involved could ever recoup from the harm that had already done when the dust fell. It was evident that the narrative wasn't ended, since just when folks thought they'd seen everything, another surprise as the player was set to enter the limelight. The next surprise occurred when a voice message began making rounds. Online, it was supposedly a taped phone conversation between Mendeecees and an anonymous guy, possibly one of his long-term pals or business partners. The audio was definitely taped without authorization. However, what it caught was irrefutable. In the tape, Mendeecees could be heard stating, I didn't want it out like this. I wanted time to straighten things out with Yandy first. The baby is mine, but I wasn't even sure until the second test came back. I informed her weeks ago, bro, that she was new, but she wanted me to be ahead of if this tape was true, the internet would have exploded. Yandy had discovered the information well before the disclosures and given males a chance to fess up before the public discovered out. followers were now interpreting her silence and anguish in a new light. She wasn't just devastated. She had been sitting on a terrible truth waiting for the guy she loved to express it. Instead, he remained silent, and now the world was witnessing their lives fall in real time as The Voice gathered traction. Another discovery occurred, one that transformed everything. Again, a close source to Yandy revealed that she was not only sad because of the betrayal, but also apparently blindsided by legal documentation that Mendeecees had been compiling. Rumors erupted. Mendeecees had talked with a lawyer about preserving his assets if things with Yandy took a turn. For the worst, he reportedly inquired about establishing a trust for the newly confirmed kid without telling. Yandy's treachery wasn't simply emotional, it was also pecuniary. The surprise sparked a fresh surge of controversy, with supporters questioning if Minx had planned for this conclusion all along. While hiding his traces behind her back, one individual wrote, "This wasn't panic. This was a strategy." Others claimed he worried immediately when the dinner results came in and was only attempting to control the damage. But no matter how people perceived it, the optics were nasty. Meanwhile, Yandy remained mute. No more postings, no more lives. Some assumed she had left town, while others assumed she was spending time with family and close friends away from the tumult. But even in her stillness, her previous posts started trending, and viewers were comforted by earlier footage. Interviews and times attempting to locate the fissures where Yandy may have been coping with this anguish. Privately, while smiling for the cameras, one tape from a red carpet interview appeared. When she hesitated when questioned whether she truly trusted males, she answered, "We've been through a lot." Time forcing a grin. Trust is something we're continually working on. Fans now believe she knew something was awry even before the drama reached the reunion stage of Love and Hip Hop, which had previously been recorded weeks before. Filmmakers hurried to edit the material, adding voiceovers, flashbacks, additional commentary to reflect the controversy. The teaser predicted explosive scenes. Cast members gasp as terrible music plays and someone yells off camera, "Why didn't he simply disclose the truth?" Fans were yearning to hear what had been caught during filming, edited in after the disclosures. Even if Yandy declined to return to the cameras, the producers were planning to use every aspect they had. But just when things started to settle into a chaotic rhythm of intimate indignation and conjecture, the narrative took another unexpected turn with Mena, who had been posting cryptic tweets. Fueling the tension from the sidelines, she claimed she would be going live with the special visitor who had something that the world needs to hear. Followers were immediately sure she was going to bring the mother of Minx's kid on the broadcast. The news sent shockwaves on social media, with everyone waiting for the anticipated moment when the thousands of viewers tuned in as soon as Erica appeared on TV. A smug smirk while drinking wine. Then the camera moved and there she was. The lady at the heart of the dancing scandal's identity was now known and her face was exposed. Her narrative is going to be heard in her own words, and what she revealed transformed the scenario all over again. She said that she had never meant to expose Means, but when he ghosted her when her kid reached 4, she felt she had no option but to disclose a private relationship that had reportedly ended. Overlapped with the early years of his renewed devotion to Yandy, and I had no idea he was married when we initially met. She continued talking and added, "He told me they were separated, and I believed him." He recalled intimate events, promises he made, and how things changed after she informed him she was pregnant. He began pulling away and saying it wasn't his. I pleaded. He declined to take the exam, even when the initiator begged. She boldly said, "Do you believe Mendeecees has ever loved you?" The lady stopped before speaking. "I believe he liked the concept of I flee the secrecy, yet I adore genuine." No, because true love does not consider individuals as disposable. Fans were. Some sympathized with her, while others labeled her as an opportunist. But nobody dispute that her narrative added yet more explosive aspect to played out. Men's eventually posted a mysterious statement to his tale, a basic black panel with white writing that said, "Some truths are I will carry mine, even if it is heavier than others." It was the closest thing to a confession yet, But it didn't seem like enough, not to fans, not to Yandy, and certainly not to the lady who the next day, the paparazzi captured Mendeecees outside a courtroom, wearing all black and appearing gloomy. He did not respond to the photographers and kept his head down slightly. Some assumed that he was meeting with his legal team, while others felt he was getting ready to make a public statement. The sight of him alone, without Yandy, security, or a grin communicated quantities, and then came the final twist. A fresh leak, this time not from a gossip source or a dodgy insider. It came straight from someone who claimed to be on the Love and Hip Hop production crew. The unnamed insider revealed an image of a secret cast group message where producers were supposedly, while discussing how to portray the issue for maximum viewers. One producer commented, "We can't let this go to This Is Gold. We're talking season-saving information here." Another added, "Let's get Mendeecees into a confessional. If he tears, we've got our moment." The messages verified what many already believed, that the agony, anguish, and betrayal were pat for television consumption. Enthusiasts were upset all over again, not only at Mendeecees but also at the program, the network, and the entertainment machine that seemed to profit off actual human pain. Hashtags started circulating. People requested that the hashtag protection, hashtag boycotta, and hashtag truth over rating program issues an apology to the producer.